Hey there, podcast lovers. Looking for a fresh take on the world? Tune into Nicky's World, where we dive into everything hitting the headlines and chat about just what's on our minds. No filters, just real talk. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or unwinding after a long day, Nicky's World is your go-to for genuine commentary on the real world. Subscribe now if you want to hear the real deal on what's going on. Join the conversation on Nicky's World, where every episode feels like catching up with an old friend. Don't miss out.
What's up, y'all? Let's do this.
Oh, hi guys. Welcome to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host. We got to talk about the abject failure of our criminal justice system, especially what's been going on in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we got to talk about that and so much more. But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for a price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I am on Ko-fi, guys. If you guys want to support, sponsor, donate, tip, and commission me for a photo shoot. If you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, y'all, please hit that like, subscribe, please give me a review. Good, bad, and the ugly. Also, guys, I do have a bunch of affiliate links. First off is Minds.com. Minds.com is a Connecticut-based social media platform. They are an awesome alternative to Facebook. So if you guys value your right to freedom of speech like I do, and you guys want to be able to say stuff without fear of being blocked, suspended, deplatformed, doxxed, or canceled, well then, ladies and gentlemen, come on over to Minds.com. Also, guys, I do have the most awesome affiliate link with Byrna. Byrna is the less lethal self-defense company, guys. They make their top-of-the-line Byrna SD, Byrna LE, TCR, Mission 4, and their newest, ladies and gentlemen, their compact launcher. So if you guys value your right to the Second Amendment, your right to self-defense, but you guys want to do it in a less lethal manner, well then, ladies and gentlemen, head on over to my friends at Byrna.com. And full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, I do own a Byrna LE pistol myself. And finally, guys, I do have this awesome, and I mean the most awesome affiliate link with North Shore Medical Supply. North Shore Medical Supply, guys, they make their top-of-the-line North Shore Megamax diaper, North Shore Supreme pull-up, their North Shore Supreme diaper, and their newest one, guys, is their packed diapers. So if you know somebody out there that needs to wear adult diapers and that needs to be put in adult diapers like I am, guys, well then, ladies and gentlemen, send them on over to North Shore Medical Supply and they will make sure that they are diapered up and padded up like me. And before we get this show on the road, literally, guys, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nicky's World, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today? Ooh, that was a damn well mouthful. That was a freaking mouthful. Yeah. And yes, guys, I am diapered up as always, guys. I am in my North Shore Megamax diapers with my Eterna boosters. And I'm in a t-shirt today because it's like what? Hot and humid outside. So I'm diapered up, padded up. Let's get on with the show, shall we? So, as y'all know, this story has been popping up on my social media feed for the last couple of days, and this story stems from what happened in North Carolina. Okay, this guy by the name of Di-Quan Hunt, you know, he goes on social media attacking white women, beating the living shit out of them. And this happened last month, okay, on July 30th. But it got blown up on social media and all this now. The fact that this piece of shit goes around attacking white women saying that they voted for Donald Trump and he wanted to do George Floyd on them, that in itself is a hate crime. But because he's black and the victims are white, the fucking liberal media is nowhere to be found. It is. But if the skin colors were reversed, oh my fucking God, the liberal media would have a shitstorm. They would be shitting in their diapers and they would be shitting themselves all over it. But because the perpetrator is black and the legal system in Mecklenburg County, which is where Charlotte, North Carolina is in, let this guy go out of jail on 14 priors for doing the same shit. I'm sitting here going like this. For a guy that had 14 priors of doing the same shit, how long is it going to take before he murders a white woman? How long? How long, North Carolina? How long before he murders another white woman? How long? The fact that Di-Quan Hunt is locked up in the Mecklenburg County Jail by the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, how long before he murders someone before the state of North Carolina comes to its fucking senses and say, yeah, shit, we need to take this seriously. Yeah, shit, we need to keep him locked up for a fucking long time. 15 priors. Any other state, any other normal common sense state, 14 priors would have sent this guy to prison for a fucking long time. But the problem we have here is that we have progressive liberal judges and progressive liberal prosecutors who are all about like social justice, progressiveness, and about, oh, we should not lock him up. Maybe we give him counseling and all this shit. Counseling after the fact that 14 priors and the fact that he was caught on video chasing, harassing, beating the living shit out of women? this is where you say our legal justice system is a fucking abject failure. This is where you go and say that our criminal justice system is a fucking pathetic failure. The fact that they can't lock this guy up for all the priors that he did? What's it going to take, North Carolina? That that he has to murder someone for you to finally lock the living shit up out of him? The fact that he goes on video physically confronting white women, thinking that they voted for Donald Trump, and he wants to do George Floyd on him. I'm telling you, this piece of shit. Looking at his video, if I saw him doing that to a woman, I wouldn't think twice of whipping out my Byrna LE and telling him to stop. And if he doesn't, he gets a taste of like kinetic pepper and tear gas. He gets that, and then at the same time, while he's on the ground, tie his ass up, and then hold him until the cops show up. The fact that the criminal justice system won't take their job seriously and won't do their fucking damn job is why people are concealed carrying. It's why people are taking the law into their own fucking damn hands. The fact that they won't do their job and won't lock up this piece of shit for a very fucking long time is why people have distrust of law enforcement. It's why people have distrust of public safety in this country. The fact that this guy had so many priors, and you can see it on Gateway Pundit, that he had so many priors that the judge just let him out on probation. Fuck. If a white person, a Hispanic person, or an Asian did what he did, fuck. We would all be sitting in a fucking prison cell right now, wondering what the fuck just happened to us. We would. But this guy is black, and he lives in what? Mecklenburg County, in the town of Charlotte, North Carolina. And the liberal progressive judge and DA slaps the wrist on him and not punishes him. We have a problem with our criminal justice system. We have a fucking problem. We really do. It's like, I don't fault the police department for this one. I don't fault the county sheriff. I fault the courts, okay? The police department and the sheriffs, all they do is just arrest the guy, hold the guy in county jail until the outcome of their court case. I do fault the courts, the judges, and the prosecutors. They're the ones that let this piece of shit, this scumbag, this subhuman piece of garbage who should not be allowed out in polite society, okay? I fault the judges and the prosecutors for that, okay? The fact that they let this scumbag piece of shit out in polite society with 14 priors says a lot about our justice system in this country. Says a lot about the fact that they let him out with just a slap on the wrist and probation. Never mind probation, okay, ladies and gentlemen? Never mind giving this piece of shit probation. My take on all this piece of shit should be sitting in a state prison with a mandatory minimum of 15 years, okay? 15 years to life for a crime like this, for him being a habitual criminal. He should be sitting there with a minimum of 15 years. He would have to serve a minimum of 15 years before he's even allowed to talk to the parole board. Okay? And if the parole board denies him, he converts to life. It's that simple. The fact that the judges and the prosecutors were being so touchy-feely and kumbaya about him, the women that were harmed by this guy because of the judge and the prosecutor should be sued to a fucking oblivion, should be sued out of the fucking damn country. The fact that they let him do all this shit is why we can't trust the courts in this country alone. I mean, law enforcement, we can't trust them, but it's like a what? A 70-30. It's like 70% we can't trust them, 30% we can't. Courts, it's like 80-20. 80% we can't trust them, 20% we could trust them when they do the right thing. But the fact of the matter is, this piece of shit is a lesson for why people need to be armed. Okay? People really need to be armed. We come a long way with less lethal technology from like pepper sprays and batons. Okay? Now we have like what? Pepper ball guns like pepper ball and Byrna. We have that technology available. If people out there are so afraid of carrying a gun to protect themselves from like subhuman pieces of shit like Di-Quan Hunt in Charlotte, North Carolina, then you know what? People need to start arming up. People need to start carrying. This is why I've said this on social media. This is why people need to start carrying. They need to start carrying to defend themselves. They need to start carrying to protect themselves. The fact that they let this piece of shit garbage out in society with 14 priors and him attacking, assaulting, and beating the shit out of women for being white and or what he thinks voting for Donald Trump, piece of shit needs to be put in a maximum security prison. Piece of shit needs to never be let out in society. He needs to have a mandatory minimum of 15 years. That means he has to serve 15 years before he's allowed to talk to the parole board. It's that simple. And if the parole board denies him, then he converts to life without parole. And it's pretty much that simple. The fact that he did this to white women, imagine if the colors were reversed. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, imagine if the skin colors were reversed. If the victims were black and the perp was white. Imagine how fast the liberal media or the legacy media would go on a tirade over race, over George Floyd, over BLM shit like that. Imagine non-stop coverage of it. Imagine. But because the perpetrator is black and the victims are white, the legacy media is dead, silent, and quiet because you know why? It doesn't comport and it doesn't go with their leftist narrative. It does not. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, stories like this remind me of why everyone should be armed. If you live in a state, ladies and gentlemen, that you can conceal carry, I suggest you do so. I suggest you really do so. Stories like this should remind everyone that concealed carry will make perps like this think twice. Will make perps like have a Buddha and Jesus moment and say, "Oh shit, yeah." Or as they say, it'll make him get right with God before he does something stupid. It really does. But if women can't, if you can't carry for whatever reason, or you don't want to carry because of a gun, there are less lethal options like Byrnas and pepper ball. I have a link in the description for Byrna. If you wanna carry something to protect yourself, burners are the bare minimum. The desired is like a 9 millimeter. Okay, so at this point, to meet the bare minimum, carry a burner. To meet the desired is a 9 millimeter. Make the perp think twice. Why do you think, for example, ladies and gentlemen, I carry a burner? I know for a couple of reasons. One, it's less lethal. Two, I know the courts are stacked against me if I were to use a 9 millimeter in a self-defense incident like this one in like this incident in North Carolina where the women didn't defend themselves. But to carry something like a burner, like even an SD, burner SD or CL or an LE, that alone is enough to create distance and make the perp fucking think twice. Okay? Make the piece of shit think twice. Because I'm gonna tell you this right now, and I'm gonna tell you this. People need to start learning to carry. I know a lot of people out there, especially a lot of pro-gun advocates, will say, "Yeah, this is another reason why y'all should carry a 9 millimeter or pistol and all that." That's fine and great and all and dandy, okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's fine and great, but the legalities of where you live or where you are factor a lot. Some states, some states have standard ground laws where if you feel threatened, you could turn around and put one in them. Some states have that. Some states are so restrictive on that policy where you have to flee, and if you can't flee, then you have a right to defend yourself. But then you got to justify that in court. So this is where less lethal becomes the basically bare minimum for self-defense. Okay? Less lethal becomes the bare minimum. Concealed carry like a 9 millimeter is a desired minimum. So for me, I go on the bare minimum to meet the bare basic minimum for self-defense. Of course, I'd love to have the desired minimum, which is what, a Glock 17? Okay, like a Glock or Colt or Smith and Wesson, but the bare minimum gets me to that level where I can say, yes, I have the capability to defend myself. That's in a situation of self-defense where I need to create distance to escape from idiots like Di-Quan Hunt. It's pretty much it's that simple. The fact of the matter is, guys, cases like this are going to keep popping up and popping up until people get it through their fucking head that in order to protect yourself, in order to basically say, no, we are not going to let this douchebag attack us, we have to carry something to protect ourselves. Now, I know some people will carry pepper spray and all that. That may be fine and dandy, but you got to remember, pepper sprays have a short distance, so you really have to get close. Okay, and that's not good in a self-defense incident or in an incident like this one. Okay, you need to create distance, and pepper balls create that kind of distance. Mine's at 60 feet. Even with kinetic rounds, it'd be like them getting hit from a New York Yankees or a Boston Red Sox pitcher throwing a ball at you going like 90 miles an hour. Yeah. So this is where less lethal is great for creating distance, creating that 60 feet distance. By the time they get to you, you know you're gonna probably whip out that 9 millimeter and then just tell them to back off. You know. But the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, having less lethal in a situation like this would have stopped that douchebag right in his tracks. Would have made him get right with God and basically say, "Oh shit, yeah." The fact is, we're at a point now in society where you got liberal judges and liberal prosecutors who are so kumbaya that they want to release dangerous people into society, all in the name of what? Racial justice and equity, but then at the expense of the victims. This shit is why I don't fault the police department. I don't fault the county sheriff. I fault the courts and the prosecutors and judges that are voted into that position should be voted out immediately, should be run out within seconds. I mean, literally, this is a prime example of who you vote for has consequences. Okay? This is a prime example of like, vote wisely, kids. Vote wisely. Vote consciously. Okay? Vote with your conscience, because who you vote for has consequences and repercussions down the road. And the people who voted for liberal judges, liberal prosecutors, liberal politicians, this is what you get. This is what you get. A guy who got 14 priors, who got let out on a slap on the wrist and probation, goes back out on the street and does the same shit. This is what you get for voting for that. This is what you get, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why the criminal justice system is an abject failure. It's a literal abject failure. The fact that the guy had 14 priors and was let out on probation and didn't do a single fucking month in either county jail or state prison goes to show we have a problem in our criminal justice system. Goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, our court system is a fucking epic disaster. It is. It is. It goes to show that it's not the cop's fault. It's not the sheriff's fault. Okay? It's the court's fault. The courts didn't do their job and didn't send this piece of shit to state prison. If they did their job and sent this piece of shit to state prison, ladies and gentlemen, would not be out there on the streets doing this shit. He would not. He'd be sitting in the North Carolina Department of Corrections prison, okay? He'd be sitting there. And if he tries to act up like that shit, he'd be going to the Supermax prison. He would. But the fact that you got liberals who want to be all nice and touchy about this, but then cry and complain when he does this, folks, you can't fix stupid. You can't fix stupid. Although you can muffle it, which I don't recommend, but you can't fix stupid. It's like there's this cartoon meme online where you see white liberal women voting to defund the police, defund law enforcement, defund the courts and prisons, and then next thing you know, you see where two black guys punch the living daylights out of her. This is the result of what happens when white liberals vote for being soft on crime, soft on this, soft on that, and then next thing you know, they're getting assaulted, raped, robbed, murdered. You can't fix stupid in this country. You literally can't. You literally can't fix stupid, but you can muffle it as much as you can. But this is a lesson here. This is this is a lesson for people. Okay, lesson number one. Let's talk about the lesson number one. Arm yourself. Arm yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make this one thing clear. Arm yourself. Okay? Learn self-defense. Learn to conceal carry. If you can't conceal carry a less lethal weapon like I do. I carry a Byrna LE. That's my EDC, everyday carry. I conceal carry. Okay? Learn that. If you live in a state that has like a strong gun laws, strong self-defense laws, carry. Because here's the reason for that. When you carry, you basically you basically make you basically like make the perps think twice. You basically make piece of shits and criminals think twice. Okay? You make them get right with whatever deity they worship to and say, God, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. That's what you make them do. And at the same time, it forces the perp to think twice. Carrying it is like deterrence. It forces them to think twice and go, yeah, you wanna do something about that? You wanna say something about that? Because I often say this on social media. Situations like that would warrant my Byrna LE, and Mr. Byrna would basically de-escalate them and talk them down and saying, "Hey, you want to do something stupid? Be my guess, because they're going to get a taste of pepper and tear gas, and it's going to be enough for them to like bawl and cry until the cops show up, and then they'll be like this. All right, throw this piece of garbage in the county jail. It's pretty much that simple. It's pretty much. The other reason for this, guys, if you live in a state that you can conceal carry a 9mm or open carry, like I believe Florida you can, be my guest. Do it. Because when you open carry, it makes thugs and criminals think twice. It makes thugs and criminals think about the consequences and repercussions. Okay? And they don't want to wind up on Steve Imram's videos on that. And if they do, oh man, I'd sit there and he got the letter-sealing moment, and he went from holy man to the hole punching man. Yeah. And this is why I tell people conceal carry. Conceal carry as much as you can. Conceal carry makes thugs and criminals think twice. Conceal carry makes these people like think long and hard before they say something stupid. Or as they say, my generation growing up in the 80s, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah. So that's if you know what that means, guys, y'all can write that in the description below. But I will say this, and I will say this, guys. This is a lesson in why y'all need to conceal carry. Women in North Carolina, I know you got pieces of shit judges and prosecutors who are quick to let these thugs go on the street. My suggestion to you all, carry a less lethal Byrna. Carry a less lethal pepper ball. Okay? Carry. Carry at least the bare minimum. If you can get a pistol permit, if you can get a concealed carry permit, great. That would be awesome. But the fact that you have thugs like Di-Quan Hunt, who I'm betting right now will probably be let go by the prosecutor and the judge. Carry. Carry. Carry as much as you can. Carry as much as you can. The other thing I want to talk about, okay? The other thing, voting for progressive liberal Democrats. Vote for soft on crime, who vote for defund the police, defund law enforcement, forwards in the prisons. This is what you get. This is what you get. You get pieces of shit, you get subhuman pieces of garbage wandering your streets, and you get subhuman pieces of garbage who literally attack like anyone who is white or who voted for Trump. You get subhuman garbages like this. And then you sit there and you wonder why pieces of shit like this show up on the news. People like pieces of shit like this show up on social media. You wonder why. My opinion on all this, guys, my gut opinion and my honest to God opinion is that, look, I'm not happy with pieces of shit like this. I'm not happy with pieces of garbage like this. I'm not. I'm not. The fact that leftists, Democrats, liberals who think like we should abolish policing, prisons, and courts, but then let garbage out like this into society and think, oh, we're safe in all this. Yeah, this is where we have problems in this country. This is when we let stupid motherfucking idiots vote for shit like this. And then this is where we get white liberals who vote for shit, thinking that, oh, this is gonna solve everything. By defunding the police, we're gonna make the community safer. Safer for who? Safer for affluent white liberals who live in well-funded police departments, well-funded schools, well-funded fire departments that can protect you from subhuman garbages like this while everybody else suffers. Yeah, this is a reason why white liberals vote for garbage like this and then cry and complain when they're attacked by thugs, okay? By thugs that they let out of jail. Yeah. This is why we have a stupid generation. We have an idiot generation. We have a generation of idiots and assholes who basically will say shit like this, basically will vote for shit like this, and then they cry and complain when they're raped, robbed, mugged, or home invaded, or even murdered. That's that's why you have stupid white liberals who will vote for their own demise. It's basically what we call suicidal empathy. They're basically voting to kill themselves. It's pretty that simple. It is. But this is why, guys, vote wisely. Vote wisely. And think before you cast your ballot. Is this the type of person you want running your criminal justice system, your county government, local, state, or federal? Is this the right person you want? Because I'm going to tell you something, you can't take your vote back. You can't get your vote back. You can't. You can't. And this is the shit that you're going to have to deal with for a very fucking long time. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty much. But the fact of the matter is, guys, our criminal justice system is a fucking abject failure. Okay? I don't fault the police department or the sheriff's department. I don't. And I don't fault them. They just come behind after the fact instead of being proactive. Okay? They They basically are more reactive than proactive. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm gonna just say it like this: at this point, people need to start forming their own militias. People need to start forming their own neighborhood watch. If you see a thug like that doing something stupid, I know some people will say, call the cops, call the cops. By the time the cop gets there, it's going to be too late. Okay? People people need to form their own militias and take care of their own business. Because the courts have shown they can't do their job. Police departments and sheriff's departments have shown they can't do their job. At this point, people need to step up and do the job for them. People need to step up and take care and take out the garbage because of the fact that they can't do it themselves or they're unwilling or the fact that the courts or the prosecutor's office is stacked against them. This is why this is why people have a low trust in our criminal justice system. This is why people can't trust our courts. This is why people can't trust our law enforcement. People can't trust our criminal justice system to do the right thing. We have such a low trust for these people. It makes you wonder why people don't trust cops. People don't trust law enforcement. We don't trust them because they won't do their job. They won't do what's right. And the fact that they're doing this says a lot. It really does says a lot. And the fact that they're doing this to people, yeah, says a lot. And really says a lot about this. And it really does. It really does. But I'm telling you this right now, man. I'm telling you this. Shit like this is why our criminal justice system is a fucking epic disaster. It is a fucking abject failure. The fact that this piece of shit was let out with 14 priors and was not labeled as a habitual criminal who should have been locked up with a minimum of 15 years says a lot about our criminal justice system, says a lot as to why our criminal justice system is a fucking epic failure. And you wonder why people don't trust the criminal justice system, or for that matter, don't even trust the damn courts. Okay? Nobody trusts them after shit like this. Okay? Shit like this is why we don't trust the courts anymore. All right? And if you wanna bring back full faith and trust in the courts and the legal system and the criminal justice system, well, it's time to doge the whole system. It's time to doge the criminal justice system, okay? This is why I'm one of those people who call for doging the entire United States government top down. Basically, doging everything, okay? Same thing at the state level. Same thing at the county, at the local level. I'm all for doging everything, okay? It's time to audit the books. It's time to figure out, like, is this worth keeping or can we do something better with this? It's pretty much, guys. But damn, man, that was a good long show, man. That was a good long show. But yeah, that got me fired up a lot, man, today. That that got me fired up after what happened in North Carolina last month. For a dude to do this and not be punished, it just goes to show, man, we have a failed criminal justice system. We really do. Our criminal justice system in this country is an abject failure. Okay, it is. It is, and you wonder why people don't trust it, and you wonder why people don't have full faith and trust in our criminal justice system. We really don't. We really don't anymore. But Yeah, we don't. But wow, that was a good show. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for listening to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host. I will see y'all soon. Y'all have a nice and safe and sound weekend. I'll see y'all next week. Bye for now.
You just listened to an episode of Nicky's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.